I'd like to welcome you all to this Nature Sunshine Training Academy webinar. My name is Darren Perrins and I'm the Business Development Manager for Nature Sunshine UK and Ireland. The Nature Sunshine Training Academy is a new training school available to all Nature Sunshine distributors throughout Europe. It is with great pleasure that I would like to welcome Stephen Horne to this Nature Sunshine Training Academy webinar. Stephen is a professional member and recent past president of the American Herbalists Guild and a professional member of the International Iridology Practitioners Association. Stephen is a herbalist, a natural health teacher, author and consultant. In this webinar, Stephen will talk about the most common nutritional deficiencies in modern society and also how you can give your body the right foods and supplements to protect that most important asset, your health. So again, it is with great pleasure I hand you over to Stephen Horne.
Thank you, Darren. This little presentation we're going to talk about today is just a very fundamental concept for people to learn. You know, when we're introducing information to people about natural healing, it's really best to start with the basics. And you don't know at all, you don't have any idea how many health problems will clear up if people just pay attention to improving the basics of their nutrition. In other words, you don't have to be an expert in all different kinds of herbs and supplements to get people a lot of health. Perhaps many of you have heard of the 80-20 rule, and that's the idea that 20% of your efforts yield 80% of your results, and the other 80% of your efforts only yield the other 20% of your results. Well, when we're talking about nutrition, today we're going to talk about the 20% that can yield the 80% results. And so this is all very good information to help the beginner get started. But first of all, let's talk about just a basic concept about investing in ourselves. You know, a lot of people in our society spend a lot of effort trying to ensure their financial well-being. We go to school, we learn to develop a career and get a job and employment. People open savings accounts to have money. They take out insurance to protect their home and their automobile and to cover them if they have other kinds of problems. They make investments to try to improve their financial well-being and, you know, put out money to create some kind of retirement plan for themselves. Oops, just a little, sorry, I went too far. That's a little slow on advancing. But one thing about money is really just a medium of exchange. The real value of money is that we want money so we can trade it for the things that really make our lives better. And one of those things is health. A lot of people, in order to save money, scrimp on things that are important for their health. But this is kind of ridiculous because if you lose your health, all the money in the world isn't going to do you any good. And if you know, build up a great nest egg for retirement and then you die of a heart attack or a stroke or you wind up, you know, crippled with arthritis so that you can't enjoy your life, that's not going to be any fun. So the truth is that investing in your health is one of the best investments that you will ever make because it's an investment in yourself and in your future, and it pays big dividends both in the short run and in the long run. Now, every day our bodies need protein, carbohydrates, and fats, vitamins and minerals, and numerous other phytonutrients found in foods that no one has yet even established are needed by the human body. When we realize that hormones can affect our bodies in parts per million, then you look at the fact that the average food we eat contains thousands of chemical compounds. Many of those chemical compounds, even in very tiny amounts, aren't currently recognized as nutritional, but they may have benefits to our health that are unknown. So when we talk about nutrition, the first thing we need to talk about is getting good whole foods that are going to get us these proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals, and other phytonutrients. Protein is one of the first requirements. Protein is basically the engine of the metabolic machine. Protein structures create enzymes, hormones, neurotransmitters, the chemicals that give us immunity, the chemicals that detoxify our body, the compounds that initiate cellular repair. In fact, the whole purpose of your DNA is to be able to build proteins out of amino acids. So proteins are needed for health in every way, in your skin, your muscles, your hair, your blood, your organs, your eyes, your nails, your bones, and so forth. One of the problems with a lot of the proteins that people are getting in their current diet is that a lot of feedlot raised animals that are raised under commercial conditions don't really provide the same kind of nutrition as natural raised animals do. So really good sources of protein include grass-fed animals that are raised organically without the use of chemicals and hormones, beef, poultry, and wild game, organic free-range eggs. In Weston Price's work in going around the world and studying indigenous peoples, he found that some of the healthiest people in the world actually regularly ate gland and organ meats from organically raised animals. We don't do that a lot in modern society, but yeah, some of those organs are actually far more nutritious than the muscle meat that most people eat. Of course, to get complete proteins, vegetarians also can rely on various cooked legumes and grains, although these are more assimilable and more nutritious if they're allowed to soak a little bit to knock out enzyme inhibitors and so forth before they're eaten. Of course, you can also supplement protein by using the center protein chocolate or original flavor, or by superalgae. Superalgae contains spirulina and chlorella and blue-green algae, all of which are very high sources of amino acids, the building blocks of protein, in a very assimilatable form for people who want to get their proteins from non-animal sources. The next thing that we need is complex carbohydrates, and this is where a lot of people are failing in modern diets because we're so addicted to convenience foods and prepackaged foods and so forth. But there's really nothing healthier than having a lot of very fresh fruits and vegetables and some moderate amount of whole grains in the diet. You don't want to overdo it with the grains. The primary thing we need is the fruits and vegetables, because these not only provide good energy sources for our body, but they're also very good, high in vitamins, minerals, and many of the phytonutrients that I talked about that we don't yet know the advantage of. So these should actually make up the bulk of our diet. They're not going to be maybe the biggest part of our diet calorie-wise, because fresh fruits and vegetables don't contain as many concentrated calories as does protein or fats. But if you think of your plate, about 60 to 70% of your plate should ideally be made up of complex carbohydrates, and the other some protein and a little bit of good quality fat. Of course, one of the biggest bugaboos and probably the worst things that is in modern diets is refined carbohydrates. Particularly refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, white bread and flour, white rice, soda pop, and canned fruits and vegetables that are canned in sugary syrups. These kinds of carbohydrates put sugar rapidly into our bloodstream, raise our insulin levels, and this actually creates a lot of the modern health problems that people are experiencing. Not only does that set you up for hypoglycemia and then later for diabetes, it also contributes to the development of cardiovascular disease. It increases oxidative stress and inflammation, which results in aging and many of the diseases of aging, and also affects your brain in a very, very negative way. When I gave up refined sugar and refined carbohydrates many years ago, it felt like my brain was coming out of a fog, and I could think so much more clearly, and I had so much better concentration and memory. And then when I started getting lazy and started letting some of this stuff creep back into my diet, it wasn't very long before I began to notice that I didn't feel as good, my energy wasn't as good, and my thought processes weren't as clear. And so I've gone back to making it a point to just absolutely strictly avoid this stuff, because I just realized until you get rid of it, you have no idea how bad this is making you feel from eating it. And you need to be off of it for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then if you go and eat some of it, you'll know what I'm talking about because you'll feel an immediate drop in your energy, your brain will immediately feel more foggy, and you'll notice how bad these things are really for your health. And then it makes it a lot easier to avoid them. Whole grains are a good source of carbohydrates, but once human beings started cultivating grain, that's when diabetes started coming in. So even eating too much grain is not a good thing, and many people are allergic to gluten and have gluten intolerance. So it's best to eat a wide variety of whole grains and use them sparingly, especially if you have diabetes or other blood sugar problems or if you're overweight. But if you rotate your grains and use a variety of different grains, it's going to be much healthier than if you're just always eating, for example, wheat. I happen to love spelt. I love brown rice, oats, corn. I use millet quite a bit. I occasionally use amaranth and quinoa. Barley is a great grain and actually one of the lowest glycemic indexes of all the grains. So again, rotating your grains is going to help you have a better nutritional profile. But fruits and vegetables are the most important part of the diet, and the lack of fresh fruits and vegetables in modern diets is one of the contributing factors to the modern degenerative diseases. Fruits and vegetables are an excellent source of antioxidants which prevent inflammation and free radical damage that's associated with most chronic and degenerative diseases. Different experts recommend that we should have at least 5 and some as many as 7 or even 9 half-cup servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day. So I don't know what the statistics are like in the UK, but having been over there several times and gone into your supermarkets and also into your restaurants, I would say that you're probably at least as bad, if not worse, than a lot of Americans, because most Americans only get 1.5 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day, and that's basically with nutritionists counting French fries as a vegetable, which I really don't think is the best kind of vegetable to be eating. But wherever possible, if you can buy locally grown produce that's in season and fresh, organic if possible, but in some ways I think that locally grown is even better sometimes than organic, because sometimes organic is shipped, very, very long distances and is actually can be a week or 2 old before it gets to the supermarket shelf. Whereas if something is fresh and locally grown, you can at least kind of wash it to remove some of the chemical residues, and you're getting the vitamins and minerals. I grow a garden, and I can tell you that a fresh tomato or a fresh bell pepper or squash picked from my garden is much different than the same thing I can buy in my local grocery store, and in both flavor and also in nutritional value because of its freshness. And that's a big thing. Because you rapidly lose antioxidant nutrients the longer that produce sits. A lot of people think that in nutrition that fats are bad, but saying that all fats are bad is like saying all carbohydrates are bad. Yes, it's true that refined and processed vegetable oils, shortening, margarine are not really healthy fats, but we need good fats, and good fats are very important for your brain. 50% of your brain by dry weight is fats, and if you don't get enough fats, it actually can contribute to getting dementia and Alzheimer's and other problems with your brain later in life. Your glands, particularly your adrenals and your reproductive glands, need good fats. They're needed in your cell membranes. Your heart burns fatty acids for fuel, so if you don't get enough fats, good fats, your heart is going to be affected adversely. Fats keep your skin soft and moist. They help keep your body warm when it's cold. And fats are necessary for your immune system to modulate inflammation and to help the body fight certain kinds of infection. Hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated fats are not healthy because the hydration process and the way that these commercial oils are made is very much like the way you make refined flour or refined sugar. These things are processed to remove vitamins and minerals that are naturally found in the oil. They are chemically bleached to make them last longer, and then they're bombarded with hydrogen in the presence of nickel to saturate the bonds. The process usually involves heat, which creates trans fats, which are really bad for you and tend to contribute to diabetes and a lot of other disorders. So these are fats that we do need to avoid. I think of shortening as fat that is almost like plastic because it's virtually indestructible. Real fats decompose. Shortening can sit on the shelf forever without decomposing. Margarine is essentially flavored and colored shortening, or very close to it. And then, like I mentioned, the partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, which includes all of your deep fat fried foods that you get in restaurants. That heating and heating of the oils creates carcinogenic compounds and trans fats, which are very bad for your health, and you want to avoid those things. What you do want is healthy fats. Cold-pressed olive oil, coconut oil, organic butter from grass-fed cows, avocados, various kinds of seeds and nuts such as flax seeds, hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, walnuts, macadamia nuts, etc. Fish that come from the deep ocean, from non-polluted waters. The problem with a lot of fish nowadays is that it's high in mercury because of the pollution of the oceans. But you can also take a good fatty acid supplement such as omega-3 EPA. That's because omega-3, as we're going to talk about later, is a really, really deficient thing in most diets. Vitamins are removed in the refining of foods. When we can things, when we process things, when we cook things, we are destroying a lot of the vitamin content. And the vitamin content is also lost in shipping and storage. That's why I stressed the value of fresh and locally grown food. I know here in America, and again, I don't know exactly the same situation in the UK, but the average produce on the supermarket shelf in the United States travels at least 1,000 miles and also is 14 days old by the time it reaches the supermarket shelf. And during that time, a lot of nutrition has been lost. That's why a lot of people are lacking in natural vitamins. The mineral situation is even worse. The use of commercially manufactured fertilizers that rely on the big three, the nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, has, plus the use of pesticides and herbicides, has really made a big difference in the soil and the way crops are grown. And it's made it so that plants have a harder time not only assimilating trace minerals from the soil, but the trace minerals in the soil get depleted. So the trace mineral content of foods has declined steadily over the past 100 years. There's evidence that indicates that today's produce contains only about 10% of the trace mineral content that was contained in foods grown 100 years ago. When we refine those foods and process them, we lose even more of those minerals. And Dr. Weston Price, who was a dentist, the head of the forerunner of the American Dental Association, in the 1930s went around the world studying indigenous peoples, found that they had almost no tooth decay, no osteoporosis, no arthritis, none of this deterioration of bones and joints and teeth that we experience in our society. And the reason was because of the nutritional density of their diets. He found that they had an average of 4 times more minerals like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, etc. in their foods, 4 times more water-soluble vitamins, and 10 times more fat-soluble vitamins in their diets than people living in civilization. This was in the 30s, and I would guarantee that people living in the 30s ate better than most people living in modern society do now. So the situation now is much, much worse, and this is why we have our tooth decay, why we get impacted wisdom teeth, and why as we get older we develop arthritis and osteoporosis and other deteriorations of our structural system. One thing that we're going to talk about supplements, but one thing I want to stress is that natural foods contain thousands of chemicals which may have undiscovered benefits to human health. We keep finding more and more things in food that have nutritional benefit. And we keep isolating the stuff and adding it to supplements and so forth. But the truth is that processed foods and supplements are never going to replace the need for whole natural foods. One of the reasons I'm an herbalist is because herbs are whole natural substances and contain numerous substances that we don't even know how they might be benefiting the human body. Now, what we're going to look at here is 7 good investments in your health. These are the 7 supplements that in my years of experience, and we're talking with other experts in the field, put together are probably the most common things that are lacking in modern diets. They're even lacking in modern diets in many cases when people are trying to eat healthier. So we're going to look at evaluating whether you need these supplements. But I think of these new supplements as nutritional health insurance. In the modern society, we cannot take for granted that the food we're eating has all of the nutrients that we need because of the agricultural methods, the shipping time, and the processing that takes place in the food. So just like you need insurance to protect you against the times when you may have accidents or problems or difficulties, our body has to have nutritional reserves in order to help it through difficult times or times of stress. Good supplement program helps to build up your nutritional reserves like a savings account or an investment account, so that when you have that day where you're on the run and you don't eat so well as you do on other days, or when you're under a lot of stress, your body has what it needs to function properly, and you are going to have the protection you need for your health. So first of all, the first investment I suggest you make is in a basic supplement savings account. I've already mentioned that we have nutritional reserves stored in the body against times when we have extra demands placed on the body. A daily vitamin and mineral supplement to basically ensure that we're getting a basic amount of the major vitamins and minerals is a good way to make up for basic nutritional deficiencies that may be present in modern diets, and make sure that we're maintaining adequate nutritional reserves. Now, I know that there's been this thing with the new laws in the UK that have made it so that you can't do high potency vitamin and mineral supplements, which is really sad, because the minimum daily requirements are just that. They're minimum daily requirements. They're kind of a low end, they're an average needed to maintain to keep you from getting overt symptoms of nutritional deficiencies. But when your body is exposed to chemical toxins, when you're under a lot of stress, you need more. So even, like I said, eating a healthy diet, a basic supplement can be a good way to ensure that you're getting the nutrition you need. However, this is a little quiz that I put together, and basically this indicates that if you absolutely need a basic nutritional supplement, do you eat at fast food restaurants frequently? I know here in America, the average person eats at a fast food restaurant almost every single day. And if you do, you're not getting the nutrients you need. Do you eat white bread and refined grains like white rice instead of whole grains? If you do, you're missing just lots and lots of vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients. There are at least 50 known nutritional components of whole grain, and I think when they enrich flour, they only add back 7, which is like a thief taking away a 50-pound note from you and giving you back 7 pounds and saying that he's enriched you. How often do you eat home-cooked meals that are not composed primarily of canned, frozen, or prepackaged foods? In today's modern society, most people don't cook anymore. So they buy things and pop them in the microwave, which, by the way, the microwave further destroys nutritional value in food. Or they just heat up something, that's been frozen or canned on the stove. And if you're doing that, you absolutely have to have a basic nutritional supplement to make sure you're getting nutrients. Do you eat those fresh, frozen, or dried fruits and vegetables every day? I don't count the canned fruits and vegetables because I just don't think they have the nutritional value. But if you're not eating those every day, you're again missing the vitamins and minerals. And do you purchase organically and locally grown produce wherever possible? I've already talked about the fact that the commercially raised produce and stuff that's been shipped long distances has lost a lot of nutritional value. So if you look that over and you can see that there's a lot of those things that you're not doing right, then I would say that basic nutritional supplement is absolutely a must. So we have the super supplemental, which is a basic nutritional supplement that supplies 100% of 12 vitamins and key macro and trace minerals that your body needs for just the basic nutrition it needs. Now, another product that you can use, and this is a good one. We don't have this one in the United States. I know it's available in Canada and in the UK. It's a basic nutritional supplement in a powdered drink form, but it's also a fiber supplement. And fiber is one of the other basic things that most people are missing that we're going to talk about in a minute. So this one is a good one to not only ensure you're getting the nutrients, but also to ensure you're getting the fiber that your body needs. Now, the next investment I would suggest that you make in your health is to invest in some essential fatty acid nutritional bonds. Fats are, as I mentioned earlier, are really, really critical, and there are certain fats that are essential to human health. Your omega-3 and your omega-6 fatty acids are vital to the body. Most people in modern society, because of their high consumption of vegetable oils, are getting enough omega-6s, but they're not getting enough omega-3s. And omega-3s are very important for protecting the heart against cardiovascular disease, for reducing inflammation and problems like arthritis and autoimmune disorders, for easing pain, for aiding brain function. The most prominent fats in the brain are omega-3s, and if you're not getting enough omega-3s, again, it is inhibiting your mental function and mental ability and can contribute to your developing problems as you age. We also need some medium-chain saturated fatty acids. Now these are not essential, but they're helpful because the heart prefers medium-chain saturated fats for fuel, and certain medium-chain saturated fats are also used in the nervous system and in the immune system to help fight infection. So, do you need to supplement your diet with some essential fatty acids? Well, first of all, do you eat wild salmon, sardines, or other kinds of deep-caught ocean fish 2 or 3 times a week? If you do, that's a good natural dietary source to get these good fats in your diet. Another good source is to eat wild game or organic grass-fed beef or poultry because when animals are allowed to graze, which I know in the UK you do have quite a bit of grazing animals, that actually puts more omega-3 into the fatty components of the meat, which actually makes it much more nutritious. Do you use organic grass-fed butter, or do you use regular butter, or do you use margarine? Now, I think, I've already told you my opinion of margarine. Regular butter, I think, is better than margarine. The reason why I think that the organic grass-fed butter is better is because, again, the grass-fed animals have produced more omega-3s, more of a fatty acid called conjugated linoleic acid, or CLA, which actually helps you burn fat. And also, butter is a good source of those medium-chain saturated fatty acids that are a good fuel for your heart and good fuel for your immune system. Another good source, by the way, is coconut oil. Do you frequently eat fried foods? If you do, you're getting the wrong kinds of fats and you're getting a lot of omega-6s with not enough omega-3s. And if you would like to reduce your risk of heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, or other degenerative diseases, then you definitely should consider an essential fatty acid supplement. So, by the look of this, you can again see that most people in modern society don't eat the deep ocean fish. They don't use the wild game or grass-fed thing. They don't eat organic butter. They eat a lot of fried foods. And therefore, essential fatty acid supplement is really critical. Omega-3 EPA is a very, very good source of these omega-3 essential fatty acids which make up for the deficiency. This can support the cardiovascular system, reducing the inflammation that is the underlying cause of heart disease and supporting healthy heart function. They also reduce inflammation in things like arthritis. I find that they're absolutely essential for anybody who has autoimmune disorders, and they're very critical for brain development. They can help counteract some of the effects of aging on the brain, and they're really, really critical for children with their developing brains. Especially one of the those omega-3s is DHA, which they're now supplementing into infant formulas because they realize how critical it is to the development of the brain in children. And interestingly enough, most children will actually love fats, and if you give them these gel capsules, a lot of kids will just chew them up and eat them because their bodies know that they need those good fats. Now, flaxseed oil is another good source of omega-3s, but it's also a good source of omega-6s. The nice thing about flaxseed oil is it has a good ratio of omega-6 to omega-3, so it's supplying both. And it's also a vegetarian source of omega-3 for people who don't want something that's derived from an animal source like the super omega-3. The flaxseed oil varies, I think, from like 4 parts omega-6 to 6 or 7 parts omega-6 to 1 part omega-3, which is a pretty good ratio. Most diets are at least 25 to 1 instead of like 4 to 1 or like they ought to be in terms of the fatty acid ratio. So the next investment that I would recommend is the antioxidant annuity. Now, an annuity is something that helps to give you income in your old age, and the reason why the antioxidants are annuities is because they basically counteract the free radicals that are associated with chronic inflammation and the oxidative stress that's involved in aging and degenerative disease. So if you want to protect your health as you get older and keep yourself from getting some of these diseases that are going to make your life less happy and healthy as you get older, then antioxidants are a very, very important supplement to consider. They are not only going to reduce the free radical damage, they're going to reduce inflammation and pain and slow the aging process. To determine if you need antioxidants, look at this. Are you eating that 5 or more servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day? If you're not, right there, that answer alone is enough to consider why you should take an antioxidant supplement, although I still think that you could take an antioxidant supplement even if you are eating the 5 servings of fresh fruits and vegetables every day. If you have any kind of inflammatory disease, anything that ends in itis, arthritis, bursitis, colitis, diverticulitis, etc., or you have any autoimmune disorder, you are low in antioxidants, and you need more antioxidants to help your body fight that inflammation and those inflammatory processes. Again, if you want to reduce your risk of heart attack, stroke, cancer, diabetes, and other degenerative diseases, you need antioxidants. And if you regularly suffer from various kinds of chronic aches and pains, you're probably also low in antioxidants because all of those things, the stiff neck, the sore back, the headaches, the indigestion, are actually signs of low-grade inflammatory processes going on in your system that need to be calmed down and cooled with antioxidants. Nature Sunshine has an absolutely fantastic antioxidant supplement called Zambroza. It has an extremely high ORAC value, and ORAC is a testing system used to measure the ability of a substance to reduce free radical damage. In one study that was done here in the United States, the Zambroza had more antioxidant value than the next 3 leading competitors in this product category put together. Zambroza, though, is also anti-inflammatory, which means that anytime you have any kind of basically hot or irritated and / inflamed kind of condition, including fevers and so forth, Zambroza can be helpful for cooling down that inflammation and reducing that oxidative damage. It's very helpful for keeping your immune system and your cardiovascular system in good shape. And it's low glycemic, so it's safe for diabetics. It's not going to spike your blood sugar and give you those kinds of problems. And it also just tastes good. So anyone, whether it's a child or an adult, should have no trouble taking this product because it's just, a lot of people drink it straight and it is really helpful. I remember when I I was over in the UK and we were shooting some videos after we'd done some meetings, and my energy was starting to sag. We got out some of the liquid chlorophyll and some Zambrosa, and we made a little cocktail and we drank that, and it was amazing how much that just picked up your energy and helped you to keep going. There's also a good product called Antioxidant Arsenal, which consists of a number of different antioxidant nutrients that are very beneficial, such as beta-carotene, zinc, vitamin C, citrus bioflavonoids, E, selenium, and the proanthocyanidins that are found in grapeseed. So this is another good one to consider to reduce inflammation, help the cardiovascular system, and also to protect the brain. And we also have a carotenoid blend. And a couple of these, the zeaxanthin and the lutein, are really, really important for your eyes. Macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, cataracts, and glaucoma are all due to oxidative stress to the eyes. And the eyes are particularly prone to oxidative stress because they are constantly receiving light. And light causes oxidative stress. And so the eyes have to have a lot of antioxidants to protect them. Another one, and this is the lycopene, which basically is real important for protecting the prostate gland in men. So again, a lot of benefits for those, which we don't have time to go into all of them. The next investment is the Mineral Mutual Fund. And this is because modern agriculture, as I mentioned before, has depleted the mineral content of our foods, and minerals are essential not only for a healthy structure, bones, teeth, and everything, but minerals are catalysts for enzyme systems to activate various processes in the body. So if you're low in certain trace minerals, it's going to affect bodily functions. So do you need minerals? Well, first of all, how many fillings do you have? The more fillings you have in your mouth, the more, or did you have your wisdom teeth taken out? If you had any teeth that basically had to get pulled because they got so badly decayed, or which also includes, did you have any teeth that wound up having to have root canals? Because although that teeth loss is a sign that you weren't getting enough minerals. Weston Price found that natives who had enough minerals and fat-soluble vitamins in their diet did not get these problems. If your teeth were crooked, that's another thing that shows that you weren't getting enough minerals. Traditionally, one way people got minerals was they made stock. They would take the bones and the leftover meat scraps and vegetables and toss them in a pot and simmer them up, and that pulled all of the minerals and also glucosamine and chondroitin and all these other things that are needed for healthy bones out of the tissues and to make soups. Most people don't do that anymore. They just use a bouillon cube or something. And if you have problems with your skin, your hair, your fingernails, your bones, or your joints, you need minerals. Colloidal minerals is a great product that basically contains approximately 72 naturally occurring trace and macro minerals. And this one, I've tasted a lot of colloidal mineral products, and this is actually one of the best tasting colloidal mineral products out there. So it's really pleasant to take, and if you drop a little bit into a little bit of juice or something, it's really very pleasant to taste, and you can even probably get kids to take it so that they're getting the minerals they need to help them develop healthy bones and teeth. I had a son who was having some problems with his teeth not coming in, and I got him taking some minerals. It wasn't this because we didn't have that at the time, but within 6 weeks of him taking minerals, he had 2 of his adult teeth came in all the way, 2 more were coming in, he had lost 2 more baby teeth, and he was like already a year behind, and those minerals really helped him develop his teeth. So even better than the colloidal minerals, though, is the Chinese mineral Qi tonic, and the reason this is better is because it not only supplies all those minerals, it also has the adaptogenic herbs that help to reduce stress, and it balances all the meridians of the body and all of the 5 elements in traditional Chinese medicine. So this is a tonic that actually helps you also with stress. And who in this society doesn't have things that stress? Now, even though this isn't a mineral, this is a vitamin, vitamin D3 is absolutely essential. It's one of those fat-soluble vitamins that Weston Price found people weren't getting enough of in modern diets. And this has actually been identified as the #1 nutritional deficiency in most people in North America, which again probably means it's extremely deficient in the UK as well. And the #2 is magnesium, which is a mineral. So this vitamin D3 is made when you from cholesterol when your skin is exposed to sunlight. And so during the cloudy winter months, most people are not getting enough vitamin D3. Taking it can help with teeth and bone development. It's also critical for your immune system. It can help reduce your risk of cancer. It also can help prevent you from getting depressed in the wintertime if you suffer from seasonal affective disorder. Now, the next investment I would recommend in your health is the digestive enzyme investment account. When people ate a lot of raw food, they got a lot of natural enzymes from food they ate. As people began to eat more and more of their food cooked and processed, they got less and less enzymes from their diet, and their body has to rely more and more on the enzymes it makes. Supplementing your diet with extra enzymes not only helps you digest your food better, which is why it's an investment into getting the nutrition out of everything else you're eating and taking, but it also improves your immunity, reduces inflammation, can help to relieve pain, and can even help to reduce allergic reactions. Well, do you need enzymes? Well, first of all, what percentage of your diet is raw food? Now, if you're a raw food person and you're eating like 100% raw food, or even if you're eating 70% of your diet in raw food, you probably don't need an enzyme supplement. However, if you're like most people are typically, you're probably not eating 10 or 20% of your diet as raw food. And so that right there is an indication that you should take an enzyme supplement. If you experience digestive upset, acid indigestion, bloating, gas, heartburn, or acid reflux, this actually can mean that you're not getting enough enzymes to break down your food properly. And if you're taking antacids or acid blockers, that's going to make the problem even worse. If you suffer from food or respiratory allergies, you probably are also missing in enzymes. Now, the way people traditionally supplemented enzymes into their diet before we had supplements was by eating naturally fermented foods. Weston Price found that the more cooked foods traditional peoples ate, the more they also ate them with fermented foods like raw sauerkraut, raw pickles, raw kimchi, or other foods. But again, these things are not readily consumed by most people in modern society, and most pickles are not naturally fermented or anymore. They're made just by bottling the cucumbers or whatever in vinegar water, which is not the same thing and does not supply the natural enzymes that naturally fermented foods do. So instead we have a good plant enzyme supplement like Proactizyme. This is a really good one because Proactizyme contains the enzymes from the plant foods that we are missing in our diet because we're eating so many cooked foods. So this is one that is really good to take for people of any age. It has the enzymes to break down proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. It's going to improve digestion and absorption, and it also contains herbs to stimulate your own natural digestive process. Now, as we get older, it's been shown that our hydrochloric acid and enzyme production drops. So almost anybody over 50 is starting to experience a reduction in enzyme and acid production. At that point, you really need to supplement these digestive secretions, and this is where food enzymes comes in because it contains the bentane hydrochloric acid that the body uses to break down protein. It contains bile salts that are used to emulsify fats. Anybody who's had their gallbladder out should definitely use this one. Anybody who has problems breaking down proteins should definitely use this one as well. And this is one that is definitely recommended for people as we start to get up in our years. I take this one every day now. I used to do the Proactizyme, now I do this one. Probiotics protective stock. Now, probiotics are friendly bacteria that live in the gastrointestinal tract. And these friendly bacteria actually form colonies called biofilm that coat the lining of the digestive tract, particularly in the colon, and create a barrier that inhibits bad stuff, including infectious microbes and toxins and so forth from getting into our body. Antibiotics kill these friendly bacteria, as does chlorine and other drugs. And so when that happens, it actually can make us prone to yeast infections, upset the function of our bowels, and basically reduce our immune response so we get infections more easily. That's why we need probiotics as a protective investment to help keep our immune system working properly. Do you need this? Well, have you ever taken antibiotics? If you've never taken antibiotics, you may not need them. If your bowels move regularly and you don't have any problem with that, that's great. If you eat, of course, probiotics again have a natural way of getting into our diets by eating yogurt with live bacterial cultures, or kefir, or other fermented foods that contain live bacterial cultures like that raw sauerkraut, raw pickles, etc. That's a natural way to get probiotics in your diet. But if you have any kind of yeast or fungal infections and you've taken antibiotics and you're drinking chlorinated tap water, you probably need some kind of probiotic supplement. Milk-free Bifidophilus, it contains both acidophilus and Bifidophilus, which are two of the most important microbes in the intestinal tract. That helps to recolonize those bacteria, helps to fight off yeast, boosts your immune system. This is really important if you have any kind of inflammatory bowel disorder, any kind of food allergies, and it can even, when you're traveling, taking this can actually help protect you against parasites. Okay, we're coming down to our seventh and final investment thing, our fiber low-risk fund. Most people in our society do not get enough fiber, and when you aren't getting enough fiber, it actually fiber is necessary for detoxifying your body. When your liver processes certain kinds of toxins, it dumps them in the bile, and then fiber in your colon absorbs those toxins and carries them out of your body. Fiber also pulls out used cholesterol. It protects your gastrointestinal tract from inflammation, which is helpful in fighting off inflammatory bowel diseases and preventing colon cancer. It also helps to maintain a healthy cholesterol and blood sugar. And so it's a low-risk fund that helps to reduce your risk of a lot of major health problems. Now, do you need fiber? Well, do you eat whole grains or do you eat refined grains? Whole grains do contain fiber, refined grains don't. Do you usually eat the peelings of your potatoes, cucumbers, apples, and other fruits and vegetables, or do you discard them? That's where most of the fiber is. If you're not eating a lot of naturally fiber-rich foods like beans and vegetables with the peelings and skins on, and you're not eating whole grains, you definitely need to supplement with fiber. Also, if your bowels don't eliminate frequently enough, is your stool soft and easy to pass? That's an even more important question. If your stool comes out as little hard lumps that are really hard to pass, you're not getting enough fiber and you're not getting enough water. And increasing the amount of water and fiber in your diet is going to make your stool softer and easier to pass. And if you have high cholesterol, you probably could use some fiber. This is my favorite fiber supplement, although this one is not necessarily the best one for people who have inflammatory bowel disorders. This one contains psyllium seeds, which swell up and absorb a lot of water and help to bulk out the stool. It helps absorb cholesterol and absorb toxins. Because I have a tendency to dry stool, I mix this half and half with fresh ground flax seeds, and that really works well as a fiber supplement for me. For people who have irritable or inflamed colons, a better choice is low-clo. It's a little more gentle fiber and is going to be a little more suitable for people with those soothing, those irritable kinds of problems in their colon. This one also will help to lower cholesterol and reduce inflammation. And of course that you have the TNT, which we talked about earlier, which also has fiber. I went a little over the time, but just wanted to close by saying, start investing today. I mean, in protecting your health and the health of your family by eating healthy and taking appropriate supplements is one of the best investments you'll ever make. Dr. Bernard Jensen, a famous natural healer here in the United States, told his wife, he says, invest in getting good food and good nutrition, because you're either going to pay for it in food, or you're going to pay for it in doctor bills. And I personally would rather have this kind of health insurance than paying later in doctor bills. Also, this is, like I said, a fundamental message that everybody needs to hear. So please share this message with others about making this investment in themselves. Darren, turn the time back to you.
Stephen, another fascinating webinar there. I'm sure everybody will agree. I'm sure everybody's got something to take away from that. And just a quick reminder to everybody that Stephen's next webinar will be on Monday the 22nd of September, and by now you should have all received a link to register for this webinar. I'm sure everybody would like to thank you, Stephen, so on behalf of all the attendees tonight, thanks again for another fantastic webinar. During Monday's training, Stephen will be talking about people who are being under the illusion that they have health care because they get help when they are sick. This isn't really the case. This isn't really health care, sorry. It's disease care. Health care is what we actually do to stay healthy in the first place, not what we do to recover when people get sick. Stephen will be explaining why we need more and more people who can help others get on programs that protect their health in the first place. And in this webinar, Stephen will be discussing how we use basic marketing and business principles to reach more people with the message of healthcare, not disease care. So tomorrow I'll be sending out a reminder email to everybody with links to Monday's and other upcoming webinars. But for tonight, that's it. So thank you all again for attending. And I do hope, well, on behalf of everybody here, we look forward to seeing you again on Monday night's training. So thank you again, Stephen. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you Monday.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Stephen. Good night, everybody.